Today, we're going to talk about 6 things that I think I've got figured out about the 2022 Harley-Davidson Lowrider S and what I think Harley-Davidson is up to in regards to this model. Hi crew, it's Mike with Riding in the Ozarks. We've got a lot of new subscribers in the last 30 days, so if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for subscribing. If you've been around for a long time, thank you for your support. This is going to be another one of those videos where I do comparisons between two different photos. We're going to compare a photo of the 2022 Lowrider S to the 2021 model. Let's get into it. 1. Motor. The 2021 model has a 114, and in my review of the Harley-Davidson teaser video, I pointed out that the air cleaner was not readily visible, and from the shadows, I said it was going to have an air cleaner like the 117s. Well, that turns out to be correct. Here's a shot of the 117 motor that will be on the 2022 model. I personally would have liked to see more than a 3 cubic inch jump, but this motor is putting out 103 horsepower at 4,750 RPMs and has 125 foot-pounds of torque. Now let's compare that to the 114, which was rated at 90 horsepower and 119 foot-pounds of torque. This should be enough of a change that it provides a noticeable difference in performance for this motorcycle, especially to the feel of the rider. We're talking about 13 horsepower from 90. That's about 15%. I think you're going to be able to tell the difference. 2. Dash. Okay, I'm going to leave my personal opinion on the dash till the end of this video because I'm sure some will disagree with it. Here's the dash on the 2021 Lowrider S, which traditionally housed the speedometer and tachometer. Now we have the new dash, and as you can tell, the gauges are gone. I said in the video regarding HD's teaser that makes sense if you're putting a fairing on the bike and you're going to put the gauges in the fairing. 3. Mini windscreen. Here's the 2021 mini windscreen. Now, are you ready for the 2022 version? Here you go. Yes, it is the same. So what about the FXRT style fairing that everybody's been talking about? Well, this makes me think that we could get an aftermarket accessory from Harley-Davidson that would replace the mini windscreen with a larger windscreen, possibly an FXRT styled fairing, but I'm not sure that they would go that route. It's possible they would do a totally different model, with the FXRT style fairing and bags already attached to it. So that gets me thinking, what if they're going to make another model? Would that be popular enough to just sell it as a production model? Or maybe if they're going to put an FXRT style fairing on it and bags on it, they would make it an icon collection, limited edition, fancy paint job, some other things, and really make it a special bike, but a limited production bike. What do you think about that? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. I have to say, I've only got one more month to pay on my Street Glide, and then I'm going to free up a payment. And if they came out with an FXRT Icon version, I would really be digging that. Maybe more so than just a regular plain production model. So that leaves the question, where did the gauges go? They're not on the dash anymore, and they're not in the fairing, so where are they? 4. New gauge. Here's the gauge, and it is described as a 4-inch analog tachometer with digital speedometer, gear, odometer, fuel level, clock, trip, and range indication. Do you know what crossed my mind when I say this? They just turned the Lowrider S into a Super Glide Sport, except with 1 gauge instead of 2. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the 2000 Dyna Super Glide Sport my girlfriend ride has 2 gauges mounted up on the handlebars like this, and that model also came with dual disc brakes as well, just like the Lowrider S. 5. Rear fender. Here's the rear fender on the 2021 model. Now I'm going to show you the 2022 version. Okay. In case you did not see the difference, I'm going to put them up side by side. So if you've not spotted it, they moved the reflector up from the fender strut to the fender. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I'm assuming that's because they're going to offer some way to mount bags on the rear fender strut. Hopefully a quick detach system that will be available. So they wanted the reflector to maybe be up on the fender instead of the strut. I looked at the Sport Glide, and if you put those bags on the Lowrider S, it's still going to cover most of the fender, including where they moved the reflector to. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but if you put bags on it like the Sport Glides, they'll just have reflectors on the outside the bags. So I don't know, but it is what initially crossed my mind when I looked at this photo, so I thought that I'd throw that out there. 6. Specs. I'm going to let you look at the whole bike while I talk about this. The dimensions on this bike indicated as taller and wider than the 2021. Not by a lot. Less than an inch in most cases. The unladen seat height is up from 27.2 to 28 inches. The ground clearance is a full inch more. Yet the tire and wheel sizes are the same. Rake and trail, the same. Weight, the same, according to the spec sheet I got my hands on. So what's making it taller? The rear suspension. Yep. In 2021, the Lowrider S had a 43 millimeter stroke coil over monoshock. In 2022, the specs say 56 millimeter stroke. This means we should have more travel, right? Well, the front travel is still 5.1, but the rear travel has increased from 3.4 to 4.4. Since they raised the bike height up with rear suspension, that also means we gained more ground clearance. All right, so if we have more ground clearance, that means we're going to have more lean angle too, right? Yes, it went from 30.1 to 31.3. So we got more lean angle. Makes this bike maybe a little bit more sporty for those of you that want to try and drag the pegs through the turns, carve some canyons, that kind of thing. So this about wraps up the differences I can find between the 2022 model and the 2021 model. So now I will share my thoughts on what I think this means. I think there are a couple of ways they can go now based on what I've shown you here. First, they could come up with a totally different model of the Lowrider fitted with the bags and fairing and call it something else like the Lowrider T. I know, that's not very original. Secondly, they could offer accessories like quick detach saddlebags that are specific for this model, a larger windscreen. It could even be an FXRT-esque styled fairing. Thirdly, they could make that Icon model I was talking about with the bags and the fairing already fitted to the bike and make it more chrome, more this, that. Make it a custom limited edition model like they did the Arctic Blasts. So leave me a comment. Since I've shown you all this, what do you think they're going to do? Do you think any one of the three options I just gave you are what they're likely to do? Or do you have a totally different theory? I want to mention, because there's been a lot of comments about the Sport Glide being cut, and then it shows up on websites and other markets. So the Sport Glide is cut for the U.S. market as far as I know. That's what I think is going on, but Harley could always surprise us with a brand new version of the Sport Glide, kind of like the Lowrider S, and that's why it's not on the website, why it wasn't on the color chart. I don't know for sure what's going on. The version in Europe's got the new paint schemes. You can get the Sand White Pearl Sport Glide in Europe. It just doesn't look like we can get it in the U.S. unless it's something they reveal on the 26th. Thanks for tuning in, and I should have another video coming out on my New Bike Mike channel, kind of going over all the models that were just released and updated on the Harley-Davidson website. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you go check it out. I'll pin a comment to that video once it comes out down below, but that may be a few more days still. I'm working on it right after I get done with this one. I want to give a quick shout out to all the members who help support my channel. Thank you guys so much. If anybody else would like early access to videos like this or other perks for as little as $1 a month, click the join button down below to learn more. All right, guys, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you do that YouTube thing, check out the content on my channel. If you dig it, hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to ring the bell to be notified. Set that to all when you do it. And as always, thank you for your support. Stay safe and keep on riding.